Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Experts brainstorm on ways to drive Nigeria's sustainable agenda to achieve the UN SDGs by 2030 at the University of Lagos Alumni 50th Anniversary Lecture. Ministers raise concern over inadequate budgetary provision for critical infrastructure in the country as they continue their budget defense at the National Assembly. Police uncover yet another illegal rehabilitation center with 108 inmates in Ilorin, the Kwara state capital. And UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson promises to give members of parliament more time to debate his Brexit deal if they agree to a general election by December 12. For more information on our top stories, do visit our website, channelstv.com. YouTube.com/channelsweb has videos of our shows. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, wants the military to patronize local producers of military vehicles and equipment. According to the Speaker, local content promotion should be extended to security and must be encouraged and funded. He stated this when the Chief of Defence Staff appeared before the House of Representatives Committee on Defence for his budget defence. Our correspondent Terry Ikumi reports.
Thursday's budget defense in the House of Representatives begins with the security sector. The Chief of Defense Staff, during the budget defense of the Defense Headquarters, reiterates the call for separate funding for the armed forces to tackle growing security concerns in the country.
I have often emphasized the constraint in funding the armed forces from budgetary allocation alone, and I've made several cases for alternative funding options for the armed forces of Nigeria to be explored.
Midway into the budget defense session, the Speaker of the House of Representatives makes an appearance and speaks on the need to encourage local manufacturers of military hardware.
The issue of local content must spread even to the security matters. And we have men and women who are capable. So there's so many of them. We just need to encourage them and to fund them.
Meanwhile, the Chief of Army Staff also appears before the Committee on Army, where he laments that only 40% of the capital budget has been released.
I therefore want to passionately appeal to this committee to take a second look at this by impressing on the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning to release the remaining funds as appropriated in the year 2019 Capital Appropriation Act.
The Minister of Justice also defends his budget before the House Committee on Justice.
May I respectfully and humbly request you to reflect afresh and jack up the funding of our legal services to between the neighborhood of 10 to 15 billion annually.
For a second time, the Minister of Youth and Sports appears for his budget defense before members of the House of Representatives, this time for the sports sector.
I was very interested in what I read in the papers where you actually did say Tokyo 2020 is not going to be a training exercise. And we actually appreciate that, because if you said that, that means you actually are passionate about the sport and you want us to actually go to Tokyo and win medals.
We're lucky that we're starting earlier than previous Olympics. But also what we've done is try to work out some projects and initiatives to bring private money and private funding into our preparations for the Olympic.
The Committee on Emergency and Disaster Preparedness also receives the National Emergency Management Agency. The lawmakers voiced their displeasure over the figures presented in the 2019 budget performance of the agency. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
A former chairman of INEC, Professor Maurice Iwu, has been rearraigned by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission before the Federal High Court in Lagos. Professor Iwu faces 4 counts bordering on money laundering to the tune of 1,203 million naira. He was first arraigned on August the 8th before Justice Chuka Obiozo, a vacation judge, but the matter was reassigned to Justice Nicholas Owibo for trial. The former INEC chairman is alleged to have aided the concealment of a sum in the account of a commercial bank between December 2014 and March 2015. He has, however, pleaded not guilty to the charge. The prosecuting counsel, Bilkisu Buhari, thereafter asked the court for a trial date, but his counsel pleaded with the court to allow him continue with the bail terms earlier granted by Justice Obiozo. The court has adjourned the matter to November the 25th for hearing of the motion. Let's cross over to Abuja now, and here's Linda Akigbe. Linda.
Hi, Joma. Welcome to Abuja. President Muhammadu Buhari has resolved that fresh energy will be injected into Nigeria-Russia relations to bolster an age-long relationship that has been both mutually rewarding and promising. The president made this pledge at the second plenary of the Russia-Africa Summit in Sochi, while calling for a stronger partnership that is humane, inclusive and diversified. In a statement, President Buhari said the initial warmth and harmony between the two countries would be revitalized so that citizens of both countries can benefit from socio-cultural, educational, technological and trade exchange. He pointed out that the partnership has recently extended to the oil and gas sector, as well as military and technical assistance in support of Nigeria's fight against the Boko Haram insurgency. According to President Buhari, as we live in an increasingly changing world driven by trade, technology and innovation, the time has come to inject new energy and pragmatism in Africa-Russia relations for the mutual benefit of both Africa and Russia. And staying with the presidency, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, is warning against the misuse of social media, especially by those who use it to spread fake news with intent to cause disaffection. He was speaking at an interfaith dialogue in Abuja, where he noted that there is urgent need to exercise restraint in the use of social media in order to guarantee national unity. Professor Osinbajo also explained why religious leaders and politicians must desist from using the pulpit for selfish gains.
Ladies and gentlemen, please move it up.
The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, arrived at Sheikh Musa Yar'Adua Conference Hall, venue of the Interfaith Tolerance Dialogue in Abuja. It's a meeting of religious leaders and politicians organized by the United Arab Emirates as part of activities to mark the 2019 Interfaith Tolerance Day. The ambassador of the UAE to Nigeria sets the tone for the deliberations.
Tolerance is needed in all spheres of our lives because it plays a vital role in establishing peace and love in all societies. It should be made clear that showing respect and tolerance to the opinions of others does not mean that you have to compromise your principles. I hope that today's events allows us to not only explore our common grounds, but also to build on it.
The discussions that follow the opening remarks are a consensus that the two dominant religions in Nigeria promote peaceful coexistence. They, however, criticized those who were exploiting existing religious differences for selfish gains.
If a scholar is quoting from Quran and Sunnah, claim to quote from Quran and Sunnah, and that claim runs contrary to justice, runs contrary to mercy, that person is talking from his own position. He's not talking, he's not speaking on behalf of Allah.
We live in a system in which we have created wars against ourselves, and it's affecting our younger generation. And I think the faith community must speak one language, and that is humanity.
Delivering his keynote address, the Vice President warns against the misuse of social media.
If we do not want to promote the kind of conflict that can go completely out of hand, we must be sure that we are policing ourselves and regulating ourselves, especially on social media. I don't think that government regulation is necessarily the way to go, but I believe that we as persons of faith and we as leaders and those of us who use the social media actively owe a responsibility to our society.
Most religions teach peace, and in order to ensure continued peaceful coexistence, the consensus at this meeting is that religious leaders and politicians must lead by example and promote peaceful coexistence. In other news, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is calling for the enactment of modern laws that will ensure financial independence for state independent electoral commissions. Professor Mahmood Yakubu faults the composition of the electoral body at the state level, saying many Nigerians are being disenfranchised. He insists the state independent electoral commissions cannot perform optimally when they lack financial independence. The INEC chairman was speaking at a meeting with the Forum of State Independent Electoral Commissions in Abuja.
There are two things I think that we need to consider very seriously. Election is about a process defined clearly by law. There were some discussions in the past that there should be a model law, modeled on the Electoral Act, to govern the conduct of local government elections nationwide. We are caused to study some of the laws establishing some of the SIECs, and apart from the composition of the state electoral commissions, there is next to nothing actually. You don't see processes and procedures for the conduct of elections. I know that in many states they have their regulations and guidelines, but we need model laws that will govern the conduct of local government elections in the country that draw to a considerable extent from the national electoral legal framework. The second issue that we need to talk together is the independence of the electoral commissions cannot be guaranteed where there is no financial independence.
Governor Mai Malabuni of Yobe State says the state is now safe after years of attack by Boko Haram insurgents. Speaking after signing an agreement with a charity organization in Abuja, Governor Buni explained that the state is recovering from the Boko Haram devastation and is ready for development. The charity organization, which is based in Qatar, is collaborating with the state government to provide motorized boreholes in the 17 local government areas in the state.
Let me use this opportunity to thank the Qatar charitable organization through you for extending this gesture to Yobe State. We are happy because Yobe is one of the states that is recovering from the devastation of the Boko Haram. And alhamdulillah, peace is gradually returning. Yobe is now safe, and the security situation has tremendously improved. I want to assure you that we have provided for all the lands for all these projects, and our state will partner with you to ensure that these projects are being carried out successfully and to the benefit of our people.
When the News at 10 returns, Nigeria moves up 15 places in the World Bank's latest ease of doing business. That's in Business News. Join us again.